All right, welcome everybody to the latest Gorgias Tech Partner Series event. I'm super thrilled to have everybody on for today's event on loyalty retention best practices in 2021. We're going to wait another minute here before we get started, but yeah, we'll just let everybody trickle in. Hello, Estelle from Paris. Looks like we have over 100 people on right now, over 600 people RSVP'd, so really grateful for everybody taking time out of their busy schedules. So we'll just give it one moment here before we start. Beautiful. Awesome. How's everybody doing today? Caitlin, hello there, Matt. Awesome. Oops. Perfect. Brighton, UK from New Zealand. Yeah, where is everybody tuning in from? Ooh, Richard from Toronto. Nice. That's where I'm at right now.
My hometown.
That's right. Aren't you a Canadiens fan though, Dan?
Yes, that is true. Family. My family's from Montreal, so.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. We already have well over 100 people on board, which is fantastic. So again, yeah, thrilled to welcome everybody to our loyalty and retention event in 2021. Really the motivation for this event was we know that BFCM and the holiday season brought about a ton of new customers for merchants across the space. The key question is now what? What are you going to do to keep those customers on board and in such a competitive landscape? So what we've done is we've assembled this star-studded cast that you're going to hear from today, whose technology and platform solutions will help you really boost your loyalty and retention in 2021 so you can keep those customers that you acquired as well as the new ones for this year. So I'm really excited to have the panel here today. From Attentive, we have Greg, who's the Senior Manager of Tech Partnerships with the Attentive team. We have Dan LeBlanc, who is just talking about his love for the Montreal Canadiens despite being from Toronto. He's the CEO and co-founder of Audacity. And we have Fiona Stevens, who's the head of marketing with our friends at Loyalty Lion, which given the name of their platform, I don't think you guys need to guess what they're going to be talking about today. That's their bread and butter. We have myself from the Gorgias team, and we have Kevin Liu, who is the Tech Partnership Manager with Recharge. So again, we brought this panel together to really teach you how you can level up your loyalty and retention in 2021. Throughout this presentation, we're going to be dropping questions in a poll for you guys to answer so we can really understand what are some of your goals for this year and for your growth. If you have any questions, please drop it in the questions channel there, and we'll make sure that the appropriate speaker gets to it. And then, as always, keep that chat lively. I can already see a ton of people commenting here. Seems like people are tuning in from all over the world, which is fantastic. So, again, we're thrilled to have you here. Just to kick things off, we just want to highlight a special giveaway that we have. So we're going to be giving a set of AirPod Pros to one lucky person who's tuned in today. So about halfway through the presentation, we're going to randomly select someone who's live with us, and we'll get your contact information to send you those. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm thrilled to introduce our first speaker, Greg, who is the Senior Partnerships Manager on the tech side with our friends from Attentive. And with that, I'm going to relinquish control and hand it over to Greg.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. It's awesome to be a part of this. It's very, very cool that it's such a global audience. So I guess no pressure. But hopefully you guys can see my screen here coming up. From the Attentive side, what I really wanted to talk about today, especially since we're talking about retention and loyalty, is talk about some of the broader strategies that some of our clients are leveraging with retention and loyalty as it pertains to their text message marketing efforts. But before we get into some of those use cases, I also thought it was good to take a step back and just sort of talk about what consumers think about text in our current landscape. I think there are still some people that are a little hesitant with text. They might think it's a little too intrusive. And so just wanted to share some findings that we found just in terms of how people view text message marketing. And what we see is that over 90% of consumers actually want to sign up for text from businesses that they're interested in. This could be people who are already signed up for SMS marketing with certain brands, but this also includes people that maybe haven't yet, but are definitely open to it for the right brand. So there's definitely an interest in wanting to receive these types of communications through the text channel. And also over the last year, a majority of consumers have actually expressed more interest in hearing from businesses via text than they did last year. So maybe a year or two ago, people were a little hesitant about receiving text, marketing messages via text, but we're starting to see that shift evolve to where we're much more on our mobile devices, and so getting those messages via text versus email, which might be bogged down in the inbox, is something that they're starting to care about. And I think that makes a lot of sense too in this COVID time that we're in. We're spending more time on our phones. 98% of people who have a smartphone are actually using their messaging app. It's the most used app on your phone. And if you check the usage report, if you have an iPhone, that Sunday weekly usage report, your iMessage is going to be anywhere between your top 2 or 7 in terms of the app that you use the most that week. So as a brand, it's incredibly important to get that real estate to kind of go to the source of where people are spending most of their time. And that's where we see text going. And the results are really staggering as well. So again, when it comes to open rates for a text message, we're seeing a 99% open rate. So essentially everyone is opening up their text messages, which obviously means it's a great place to get your message across. But it also makes a lot of sense. We all look at our text messages. We want to keep our message inbox clean. I get text messages from my utility company. Like, I'm still opening those messages. But I think what's even more valuable, especially for merchants, is the fact that everyone's viewing your message, but we're also seeing at least a 30% click-through rate of those text messages. So not only are people looking at your message, they're engaging with it, they're interacting with it, they're jumping back to your site to take advantage of whatever that call to action is. So that's why we look at text as the #1 engagement channel of the future. And then that really ties into what we're talking about today with retention and loyalty. How do we get people to go from 1 purchase to 2 purchases to 3 purchases? And when I think about retention and when I think about loyalty in particular, I think more about how are we building an emotional connection with our consumers? What are we doing to drive that brand equity that gets them to become, not only a repeat purchaser, but a brand ambassador, someone that's going to recommend that brand to their friends and family, that's going to talk about them in public. How do we get them to really feel like they're a part of the journey? And so I want to walk through some broader strategies that some of our clients have leveraged from a text message perspective. And when I think about emotional loyalty and emotional connections, one broader strategy is to provide more of educational content with your content messages. So it's obviously important that people are purchasing your product, but it's also good to let them know, like, how to use your product. Am I using the correct product? What are some other products to complement? And so when you show you care more about the fact, more than just that they're buying products from you, but that you care about how they use the product and the overall satisfaction, that's going to build a lot more trust with some of those first-time customers. And so our client Supergroup does this great campaign over text where they're communicating about the importance of an SPF routine. And they built out this entire Sun 101 series that they would send out to all their text message subscribers just to educate them on the benefits of protecting themselves from the sun. So this was a great way for customers to come back to the site to learn more about some of these, one of best practices. And then while they're back on the site, it also gives them a chance to browse other products. Maybe they're learning that there are other products that can help with their skincare routine. And so it gives them a chance to drive more repeat purchases. And they've seen a ton of success with this. They're seeing almost a 30x ROI. Text has turned into a top 3 revenue channel for Supergroup. And it's not only just because they're acquiring new customers and driving incremental revenue, but they're building more trust with their customers through these educational and thought leadership pieces, so that when they are looking at additional products, they're more likely to go back to the people that they trust than one of their competitors. So they're seeing a ton of success with this. The next more broader strategy that I want to talk about is also any type of like philanthropic or charitable efforts that you might be leveraging as a brand. I think especially now during the pandemic, I think we're all looking to support our local businesses, or also support businesses that are helping those that are in need of various items. I do that with like our local restaurants in Raleigh, North Carolina. We try to, order delivery or takeout for some of the restaurants that we love, so that when this pandemic is over, we can make sure that we can come back and actually enjoy the experience at the restaurant. And I think this is a great opportunity for brands to convey that message to their text message subscribers. And so T Collection does a great job with this. they had a text campaign where they sent a text out to all of their subscribers about Giving Tuesday, which was something that took place on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And they announced that any purchase that was made that day, they were going to donate an outfit to a child in need. And when you know that you're purchasing a product and you're also giving back to the community, it also gives you that feeling of goodwill. And so when you're trying to get Incentivise customers to come back and purchase again, knowing that there's that charitable aspect really helps. And T Collection was actually able to donate over 1,500 outfits during that Giving Tuesday promotion. So just another great success story where you're not even giving an exclusive offer, you're just more talking about how you're giving back, and that really resonates with customers. The third broader strategy, I think, especially when we talk about loyalty and how you try to separate yourself from your competitors, there's a lot of different loyalty programs that you can participate in. There's a lot of different brands in a certain space that you can buy from. So I think offering a program that is fun and entertaining, that's going to keep my attention, is also really important to help you stay top of mind with your most loyal customers. And so what I love about this program is our client Laneige, which is another skincare brand. They did this 12 days of beauty promotion that they sent out through text. So for 12 straight days, they would send a text out to their subscribers and they would offer an exclusive gift. So this was a cool way for them to engage with their customers in a way where they would get excited about what that next gift was going to be. They would be checking their text messages every day. There's also that immediacy to text, knowing that they only have one day to take advantage of a certain gift. And that's another thing to consider. Most people who open their text messages, 90% of them will open it within the first 5 minutes. So they're seeing this message right away. And so this is getting people to come back to the Laneige site on a daily basis, which again gives more opportunities to browse the site and look at other products to purchase. And this 2-week window where maybe a customer might not even show up at the site, might be coming back to the site 5 to 10 times during that 2-week period. So again, another fun way to just sort of, have a good time with your customers and get them to come back to the site and, purchase more products from you. And then the last example is, again, when we talk about your most loyal customers, it really comes down to that affinity to the brand. Do they feel like they're getting that VIP experience? They feel like they're more important than maybe that average customer that's, maybe only browsed the site and hasn't purchased, or maybe it's just purchased once. So offering different types of exclusive opportunities via text is also a great way to get people to come back. And Pura Vida, another client of ours, does a really great job with this. This is an example of an exclusive new product offering that they sent out to their most loyal customers. And not only was it an exclusive product just for their loyal customers, it was also a limited time offer. So if they went and purchased this product during that day only, they would also receive an additional incentive of a 20% off discount. So you're taking your most loyal customers who are more inclined to want to purchase some of these exclusive products, and then also incentivizing them with another discount, knowing that they're going to be the only people that take advantage of it. This is a way that you can really drive more opportunities for more repeat purchases from those customers that are going to be buying more from you. So just another great example of how you can set some urgency with your text message marketing, knowing that people are going to see those texts right away to try and get them to come back to the site and purchase another product for you. And then one last example of sort of that exclusivity is a client of ours, insert name here. They also do a lot of in the know campaigns and different exclusive releases for their clients. And you can just see here the type of return that they're getting on these types of text, 50x ROI, an average conversion rate of 40% on these text messages. I mean, some of these numbers are just really unheard of. And again, it just goes to how text is as a channel and how people are interacting with these messages. And if you're doing it right, I mean, it can really pay off and become that top 3 revenue channel that you're looking for. So I'm going to finish off with this. At the end of the day, we at Attentive, we really recommend that you leverage text as this top engagement channel to try and increase loyalty. And there's so many different use cases that we could talk about, but also some things to think about when we look at loyalty programs in general, where you can leverage text. is, reward. If you're trying to get more subscribers, try to reward your customers with loyalty points for subscribing to SMS. Now that you see how important, SMS subscribers can be to your business, it might be worth it to give them 50 to 100 points just to opt in for your text message marketing. It's also a great chance to remind customers about maybe expiring points that are happening. I know I never really know when my loyalty points are expiring. So if you send me that reminder that the points are going to expire in a few days, I'm more likely to come back to the site and use those points, and also probably spend some extra dollars. If you have loyalty tiers, try to incentivize to go from like the silver to the gold tier. If someone's 100 points away from that gold tier, maybe you want to send them a text that says, hey, if you come back and buy one more product, you'll receive all these additional new benefits. You can also incorporate loyalty points into your text messages. And then lastly, subscription reminders. If you work with a company like Recharge and you want to remind people that their subscription orders are coming up, it's just a great way to make sure that you're transparent with your customers and you're giving them that positive experience that they know when their packages are going to be arriving. So I'm going to leave it there. Chris, I'll give it back to you. And again, thank you guys so much for letting me be a part of this.
Amazing. Well, Greg, as always, we are grateful for you dropping all of that wisdom and the power of SMS and text message marketing. So definitely a few questions here we want to get to keep the ball rolling here. So Nolan has asked 2 questions here. With SMS, will it ever be possible to message customers through iMessage versus standard SMS, blue bubble versus green bubble?
Yeah, I mean, we work with customers that are doing, Apple iMessage, but also if you have an Android phone and you want to send SMS messages via Android, we have the ability to do that. So yeah, it's definitely possible to be able to reach out to people on more than just your Apple device. Awesome.
Cool. And a few other questions before we let you off the hook. How can brands use text for retention without leveraging promos in campaigns? So that's something I know we've talked about before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. No, that's a really good question. And there are a lot of brands out there that don't discount. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why a loyalty program is so important, especially if you're a brand that doesn't discount, because you can incentivize people for a lot of different actions. They can earn points for posting a review or referring a friend, and it's a way for you to engage and build that emotional connection in a way without having to discount. Because when you provide more value than just a discount, that the cost doesn't really matter anymore. So, I would just say, being able to leverage text as the channel to try and build that emotional connection that I was talking about. I go back to the Supergroup example. When you're providing educational content or telling people how to use your product, when you provide more value to your customers, sometimes price doesn't necessarily matter anymore, or it's not as important of a factor. So being able to leverage a really powerful and behavioral loyalty program and using text as a way to communicate those messages, I think can really help if you are a brand that doesn't really discount.
Yeah, absolutely. And then final question, we'll let you off the hook, from another one from Nolan. He said that they were quick to adopt Messenger before text message. Do you see the same analytics with Messenger, or is text the better route?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, we don't really specialize in Messenger, so I don't have a ton of data to back up the difference. I mean, I think that, especially in the United States, text is really where, and Canada, text is where we spend most of our time. Like, that's really where, the prime real estate is, for, how you want to get in front of your customer. I think Facebook Messenger is also a really important channel that you should definitely look at. I don't necessarily know what the statistics are compared to text, but again, if you're in another region too, there's probably other apps out there like WeChat, and WhatsApp that you might want to look at as well. But if you're focused in the United States and Canada, text is definitely a top choice that you'll want to try and get in front of your customers with, along with Messenger.
Absolutely. All right, Greg. Well, thanks so much again for participating in this event. Anyone who isn't using Attentive and interested in some SMS marketing platforms that essentially integrates with all the tech platforms you're going to hear from today, definitely recommend you hit up Greg afterwards. So thanks so much, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Take care. All righty. All right, we're going to keep the the party going here. So happy to bring on our next speaker. All right, there he is, Dan. I'll let you load up your screen there, and I'll set the stage for you. So Dan is the CEO and co-founder of Dacity, and today he's going to be telling us about how his platform enables you to really ramp up your loyalty and retention. So with that, I'll hand the floor over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Chris. So I'm Dan. I'm as Chris said, CEO and co-founder of Dacity. We are a data analytics platform, power over 1,400 stores. We've processed, just in Q4, we process about 8 trillion rows of data to really help brands become much more analytical and really drive better business decisions. And one of these areas is around retention. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about retention from a data perspective and how you really think about segmentation and retention. That's something that for me, hugely passionate about, and I think is really, really important. So first of all, let's talk about sort of just segmentation. There's a bunch of different ways that you can actually go and segment your customers. You might do something what we call a behavioral type of segmentation. This is things around, what have people purchased? How many times have they purchased? Maybe what are they doing on site? It's actually the easiest way for you, or the easiest method of implementation that you can do on any types of these types of segmentation. So it's the one that I would recommend that everybody start with. Then you might go into demographic. It's fairly straightforward, but you do either have to go and ask your customers a lot of times, or probably infer it. So things around gender, age, those are two common ones where you might want to segment. So, if you're a beauty brand, if you're sort of one of those products that's more in sort of maybe the teen space, is it actually the teen that's buying it, or is it the parent that's buying it? So that can be really, really important information in terms of how you think about your retention and your marketing. Third is what we call socioeconomic. So things around, what might your income be? Do you live in a city versus an urban location? You often get this type of data from third parties, and it will help you with that segmentation. And then the last one, this one is actually the best one across the board, but it's also the hardest to implement. And it's what we call psychographic or attitudinal. It's basically, how do you think or believe about a product or whatever, or some sort of subject? And a great example is when I was working at Pro Flowers, it was important for us to understand when somebody was giving flowers for a birthday, what was the attitude around it? Why were they picking a certain flower choice or potentially a certain flower color? And we found that people had very specific attitudes around the gift giving process and why they wanted to do that, and how we were able to go. And then it became a question of how could we go and give the right product to the right person for them to make a choice in terms of buying for that recipient. So let's kind of dig a little bit deeper into the one that I said was the easiest, which is that behavioral. And there's something it's been around for quite some time, and we call it RFM. And it stands for recency, frequency, monetary. And it is going to be the easiest way for you to be able to segment your customers. Recency, very simple. Just when was the last time that the customer bought from you? Frequency, which is how many times have they purchased? And then monetary is how much on average have they spent in the past? And when you couple these three together, you can start to build profiles or segments, group them together into segments that you can now activate as part of your retention marketing. So let's talk about 4 really important RFM customer segments. If you were to go apply a RFM segmentation, this would be how we would sort of think about implementing for most merchants out there. First one is what you call a single purchaser. These are, you've got a new customer, they are a single purchaser. And your goal as a retention marketer is to turn that single purchaser into something that is not a single purchaser, hopefully your high value customers. So they go through several steps. You have a single purchaser, then often you have what we call a multi-buyer, which is usually purchase 2+, and then a high value, which is going to be your most valuable customers. You want to sort of grade a segment where that's about 15 to 20% of your population. You're going to think about them in terms of figuring out what on average are the number of times that they have to have bought to get us a group of customers that are about that 15%. And then anybody, and this may vary depending upon you as a merchant, but if somebody hasn't come back and bought in a year, you want to think of them as lapsed. And so these 4 segments are really important because you want to apply different strategies from your retention marketing towards these different customers. You take that high value customer. They are very likely to buy. And the last thing you want to do is give them a discount because you're giving away margin. This is where, as Chris and Greg were talking about, as Greg was talking about, some of the exclusives. Maybe you go and give these customers an exclusive or a preview into a product that they might be able to go buy that nobody else has access to. And so they feel special. Then you take somebody that is close to becoming a lapsed customer. So, it's like, you were really important to me and you don't love me anymore. What can I do to regain your trust or whatever, so you can have some fun with sort of the messaging around that lapsed customer and maybe give them a discount to try and come back again and re-engage those customers. Because the longer they go without buying or engaging with you, the less likely they are going to buy again. And so it's really important to not let that single purchaser become a lapsed single purchaser. So what we've been doing at Dacity is really trying to build a dashboard, or what we've done is we've rolled out a brand new dashboard on our platform that is built around retention. Because what did you do over Black Friday, Cyber Monday? You went and gained a ton of new customers. So this new dashboard has a variety of really kind of cool views in here. So customer segment by month, last 3 years. So we're showing you where your customers are over the last 3 years. We're showing you which segment your customers are in. And then on the left side here, we see something as where was your customer a year ago and where are they today? And what's really cool about this is this customer movement is you can start to drill in and pull out the actual email addresses of these customers. So you could say, hey, somebody was a single buyer today and now, or a year ago, and now they're a lapsed single. And how do I go pull that customer and go and maybe put them into an email campaign or an SMS campaign? You take a single buyer that became a high value customer, and you might want to pull that list and then do something separate from a segmentation. And so we've got this great new dashboard that's all built around how do we help you understand what's going on with your customers from a segmentation perspective and from a retention perspective, so that you can go and really leverage and get all of those single customers to be high value customers, because that is your number one goal. So a couple of key takeaways for me. One, don't put your retention strategy on the back burner. You have to have somebody in your organization owning retention. Somebody really has to own that. So go find that person, go hire that person, do whatever you have to do, go make somebody the owner of retention. And then understand the purchasing behavior. Your segments are going to buy different products. So don't go and provide the same product to everybody. Think about it from a segmentation perspective. Can I go and send a campaign that has a different product to those different segments and help that in terms of improve my retention behavior? The third and the fourth one, create those personalized campaigns and track. So you've got to think a lot about how you're targeting those groups differently and then tracking that. So don't just offer discounts across the board. Think about discounts, exclusives, early birds. And then lastly, get feedback. So one of the best things that you can do with your high value customers to make them feel special is ask them questions. These are the people that love your brand. So ask them what they love about your brand, what you could do better, what products they would love to see. There's nothing better than getting customer feedback, and your high value customers are the folks to go after. So with that, I'll turn it back to Chris and see if there are any, open to any questions that the rest of you have.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Dan. And as I was listening to you, and I was blown away by, how analytical your platform is and how you're speaking. And I was like, oh, wait, the fun fact that I was supposed to say about all of our panelists, for you at least, was that you're technically a rocket scientist. And you have a master's in aerospace engineering. So I was like, right, that, Dan's the genius on the panel. So no surprise there. Definitely not going to let you off the hook without peeling a little bit more information from you, Dan. A few questions have come in. So the first one is, what's a common mistake you see brands make when analyzing the retention programs?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's really about giving everybody the same offer. Is a lot of times it's just you take all your single customers, you take all your customers, you throw them into one bucket, and you just treat them all the same. And it is super important to think about segmenting them, because people respond to different offers, promotions, products. And so that's the key thing about segmentation and retention. Absolutely.
And we posted a poll about how much data drives decision-making, and it looks like only 25% of people said immensely, which means over 75% of people aren't using data, leveraging data enough. So I definitely encourage them to check out Audacity. Another question we do have for you, Dan, here is, if someone wanted to start building their retention program, what type of teammates should they be hiring?
For me, I think there's two things that you want with somebody. You want somebody that's going to test, right? In retention, the biggest thing about retention is you want to test everything you do. You're going to be using things like SMS, so platforms like Attentive. You're going to be doing some loyalty stuff. You're going to be doing email. And so you want to test everything that you do to see which one wins. And so you need somebody who's got that love of figuring things out. And then they also have to be somebody that really goes in and wants to kind of look at the numbers to tell them which was the winner. Because a lot of times you think you know what the right answer is, and it turns out that we're wrong. That's the best part of what I love about sort of data and retention is it's not always our gut that tells us what the right answer is. The data is going to tell you the right answer.
Well, that's the scientist in you, right? You can make all the guesses in the world, but until you test that hypothesis, you really don't know. And I really like how you preached about getting feedback, right? I think that's a trait that all of the panelists here today have, is with their companies and their platform. We're always trying to get feedback. All of our merchants are always trying to get feedback as well. So really love to hear that. And just a couple more for you, and we'll let you off the hook. What are some KPIs that someone can use to track how their retention program is performing? And I know you touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. So first one for me, look at what channel your second plus orders are coming from. If you are getting orders, so if somebody's making a second plus purchase and those orders are coming through things like Facebook, you are doing a terrible job with retention, because you should be leveraging direct, because you've done a good job with your brand and getting people to love your brand. You should be getting email. You should be getting SMS. You want people to come through those channels and not your acquisition channels. So that is definitely one. Then I'd also look at what percent, if you do cohort and type analytics, where you're kind of grouping customers by time of, what month they purchased, go see over time what percentage of that cohort has actually purchased a second time. That's going to help you understand whether your retention is getting better or worse. Because often most brands, we don't have one at the start, right? We launch our brand. We don't really know what we're doing. We kind of don't have a retention strategy. And so the key is it getting better over time? And that's a great way of measuring it.
Yeah, I just know that people are having light bulb moments all over this, the people tuning in right now, just listening to you speak. I love it. Azul has commented here that they're leveraging Audacity currently. Setup was really easy, and the data just starts pouring into the dashboard right away. Obviously, no surprise there. And then finally, Dan, we'll let you off. To what extent does your personalization software go? Does it extend into social media and web tracking throughout the customer journey?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different data that we can pull in, not just from Shopify, but we connect to a lot of the platforms that we're talking to today, Attentive, Recharge, a whole slew. And so we pull all that data in, put it together for you, and help you both build really rich customer profiles, give you deep analytics in how you're doing from a marketing, acquisition, retention perspective, lifetime value, anything that you need to run your business.
Amazing. All right. Well, look, we've stolen enough of your trade secrets for one day, so we'll be off. But thanks so much for joining us, Dan. Hopefully the Canadians start to pick up the pace here and have a good season after all. But yeah, thanks again.
Thanks.
All right. Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to keep the party going here. Really thrilled to bring on our next speaker, Fiona Stevens, who is the head of marketing with our friends at Loyalty Lion. They need no introduction. They're, perfect panelists for their event. So really happy to have you on board with us today, Fiona. And I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce your fun fact, which is that you grew up with 3 older brothers. And as Fiona said, I think that's what they call character building. So she's clearly tough, and she knows a thing or two about loyalty and retention. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thanks so much, Chris and Gorgias, for having us here today. Talk about pressure. I don't know how to follow a rocket scientist and 2 really great platforms. By way of a quick introduction, for those of you who don't know Loyalty Line already, we're a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform powering growth for e-commerce merchants, you guys. Loyalty is, of course, my favorite topic, and I can talk about it for hours on end. So to stop me doing this, I'm going to focus on one specific area that we believe has been getting more and more important, and that is community. So I'm going to look at why loyalty and community go together in 2021, what a loyal community actually looks like, and how you can turn it into a revenue generator. So to get started, why is a loyal customer community one of the most powerful things you can have in 2021? At the most basic level, some consumer research that we did last year showed us that for over 50% of customers, feeling like they're part of a community of like-minded individuals is really key to securing their loyalty. So if you want to keep your customers coming back to you rather than drifting towards your competitors, you need to make sure that they feel like they're a part of something bigger. But community, it can sound a bit wishy-washy, and it's hard to believe that actually it can contribute to your bottom line in a meaningful way. So I just wanted to take a second to look at all the additional ways that a customer community can actually drive success for your store. So fun fact number 1, 66% of companies say that they turn to their brand communities for product development. So they're hearing straight from the horse's mouth what their customers actually want them to work on next. Secondly, 71% of companies are using customer communities for their market research. So just think of all the money they're saving on surveys and focus groups. 80% of marketers indicate that building a brand community has increased their traffic. So they're actively helping to get more customers through the doors. 33% report that branded communities alone have actually changed marketing plans or products along the way. So imagine how much more powerful your messaging can be if you know exactly which messages matter and how they want to hear those from you. And finally, 80% of customers say that authenticity of content will influence them to follow a brand and join a community. And nothing is more authentic and genuine than the content that's actually generated within a community. So I wanted to talk about what a loyal brand community actually looks like. It comes in many forms and guises, but I'm just going to talk you through 3 of my favorite examples who all do things quite differently. So first up, and one of my favorite Loyalty Line customers is a jewelry brand, Astrid and Miyu. Now, Astrid and Miyu were one of the brands that really responded very well when COVID struck last year. I don't want to use the word or talk about COVID too much, but they had to shut all of their physical locations and rely solely on online presence. And this is when their online community really started to grow legs. So their community is an online content hub, which in their own words, is there to help you smile and sparkle. It's got reams of the usual fashion and apparel content, get the look guides, ways to wear things, so on and so forth. But what they've done really well is built out whole sections dedicated to demonstrating what they stand for as a brand, whether that's a pledge to Black Lives Matter or their commitment to women finding their place in business and society. On top of that, they've also created a really human approach to their content. So they have profiles on staff members, podcasters hosted by their CEO, Connie. At every turn, there's more content that shows the people behind the brand. And it's fantastic because it gives customers something to really connect with on a really deeply personal level. But it also gives their members a reason to keep on engaging with the brand, even when they're not shopping. They're continually coming back to the site to consume more content, even if they're not actually making a purchase. So they're doing a really great job of building a community around the passions that their customers share with them. What's interesting about these guys, however, is that Astrid and Miyu are creating these amazing connections with their customers, but they're not allowing their customers to connect with each other via the content. So for my second example, I want to show you another Loyalty Line brand that's slightly more interactive in terms of their customer community, this time on Facebook. So Never Fully Dressed is a fashion brand that started as a London market stall and today has over 220,000 Instagram followers. As you can see from the examples on screen, their community is made up of real customers posting their real life experiences. So you've got people sharing pictures of their outfits, you've got people liking and commenting on those posts. As with any public forum, you're obviously going to have people asking questions and sharing negative experiences, but these are emphatically outweighed by the brand love stories if you scroll. And the best part is that it's all completely user-generated content. It's shared by the community. It's liked and commented on by others in the community. And it's that completely authentic voice that we mentioned earlier. They also have an area where you can see top fans, which is a great way of encouraging customers to keep going and keep engaging with each other. So where Astrid and Miyu is an example of a store using community to own their own narrative, Never Fully Dressed is more about using a community to tell the stories of their customers. But again, they're providing an amazing location for customers to connect in between purchases, or actually for new customers to really get to know them before they commit to a purchase as well. So this brand community is entirely built around the idea of generating longer term brand loyalty. And now onto my best in class example, Sephora. So it's always one of my favorite loyalty programs to talk about. And this on community is no exception, because they're combining both the approaches we've just discussed into one all singing, all dancing community. As you can see here, it's hugely important to them. It's hosted on site. It's part of the top nav of their site. As soon as you hit the community, there's an option to start a conversation or add your own photo immediately right there in the header. They make it really obvious to the customers that they want participation. They've got a clear get started section with FAQs, guidelines, and videos on how to post, how to introduce yourself. And they allow members to search content, so you can immediately find the people or posts that are relevant to you. And they show trending groups, so it's easy to find the people who have the same interests as you. And it's pretty clear how well this is working for them. At the time I took these screenshots, they had over 4 million members, 59,000 of whom were online right then, and over 2.5 million posts. Now, obviously, we can't all be Sephora and build these sorts of loyalty communities overnight, but there are lots of small things you can be doing to start off strong. So to finish off, I'd like to just talk through 4 easy ways to start building a loyal customer community. So the first and most important thing is to be really clear what you're building a community around. Define your brand values and ensure that they're coming across really clearly in everything that you do. That way, you give your community something to form and bond around, and the instant knowledge that they're going to be part of a bigger cause that they actually care about. And you can communicate your values and your alignment via the content on your site, like Astrid and Miyu do, or you can include it in your loyalty program welcome emails, like Makeup Brand 100% Pure on screen do here. And then you can look at working your values into your points and reward strategies. For example, we have a dog food brand at Edgard & Cooper who allow customers to redeem rewards in the form of donations to a dog shelter, or I believe plant a tree instead. And we have beauty brand Pacifica Beauty who have incorporated values into the way that people actually earn points. So if you recycle your makeup packaging, I think it's mascara specifically, you can earn points for doing that as well. So each of these brands is really clearly demonstrating to customers that they share their values and they care about the same things. And in turn, that means their members feel comfortable joining their communities and the knowledge that they'll connect with like-minded people. The second thing is about incentivizing engagement and interaction. The old adage of if you build it, they will come, sadly isn't as true as we might always like in e-commerce. If you want to build a community with a lot of engagement, you'll likely have to do something to get that conversation going. But the good news is it's really easy to do that with a loyalty program. Just offer customers points in return for social interactions. Each time they follow your channels, like and share your content, or post their own content that mentions your brand, you can reward them with points. A couple of examples on screen here, brands like Zox, Pacifica Beauty, they're all offering points in return for social likes and follows. So not only are you giving members more ways to earn points that they can put towards their next purchase, but you're giving them a great reason to interact with you between purchases as well. And this means that you can keep them close, so you're the first person they think of when they do decide it's time to buy. And you can follow a similar line of thinking in terms of growing your community here, incentivizing your community members to refer friends or leave product reviews in return for points as well. So you're always growing that community further. And finally, I realized I had 3 points, not 4. And to create a really successful community, you have to create that feeling of exclusivity. So members should be continually made to feel that they're getting something in return for their loyalty and the energy that they're putting into part being your community. And there are a few different ways to achieve this with a loyalty program. Firstly, you can introduce different tiers, allowing customers to unlock different communities as they move up through them. So for example, Anne-Marie Skincare has a collective insider tribe, and members who reach a certain threshold get exclusive access to a private Facebook group where they can discuss skincare with others. It's a great feeling knowing that you've got something you can log into that not everybody can get to. And you can also create a feeling of exclusivity with the rewards that you offer your community. So for example, offer the most valuable contributors the opportunity to become testers for you. They can test your new product lines. Or you could offer your community members early access to new product lines, exclusive access to your sales before they go public. A couple of examples here, Lively and Vitibiotics members both get exclusive access to double points events that non-community members can't access. And these are all just ways to ensure that your community members feel like they're getting something in return for their engagement. And in turn, that guarantees you their continued attention and interaction. So those are the kind of top tips for building a brand community that will actually end up driving revenue for your store, but hopefully at the same time, cementing your customer relationships and getting that longer term loyalty. And I will hand back to Chris on that note.
Amazing. That was awesome, Fiona. Definitely did not disappoint. No surprise, Loyalty Line speaking so well to loyalty and retention. Definitely have a lot of questions, a lot of comments here, which is fantastic. A lot of engagement on the polls. First up from Nicole Martin, she asked, are there any good examples of loyalty programs that are seamless in terms of multi-currency? They're starting to build up a global program, and they're having a difficult time with taking multi-currency into account.
Interesting. Yeah, and so we fully integrate with Shopify multi-currency. So you can, as far as I'm aware, you can set up points and rewards in different currencies, and it should be pretty seamless. If you're having problems with that, we can definitely get someone in our support team to look at it, because it should be the case that you can offer different people in different countries points and rewards in different currencies quite easily.
Amazing. All right, we definitely have a few more questions for you. Want to take advantage of this. First question is how do you measure success when it comes to loyalty?
It's a really good question, and that comes back predominantly to something someone was saying in the chat before. It's all about customer lifetime value, and obviously the components of that. So your repeat purchase rates, average order values, you want to be seeing all of those things from your loyal customers going up. Those are your hard metrics. Obviously, the success of your program can be measured by your redemption rates, how many people are earning points, how many people are coming back to redeem them, how many people are engaging by liking, sharing, referring, that kind of thing. But I think it's really important to look at the softer metrics as well. So things like your NPS score and what people are saying about you online. Those are the things that will also give you a steer as to how loyal your customer base is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you talked about communities. So, where should, I'm a merchant, where should I host a community for my program members, and what platforms are best for that?
It's a good question. And I think it depends what your goal is. If you're trying to keep people engaged with content the way Astrid and Miyu are, then on-site, completely fine. If you've got somebody who can build you an amazing community on site, then fantastic. But if you don't have that, then I'd look at where your customers are. If they're on Facebook, start there. If they're on Instagram, build it there. I think you kind of have to assess where your customer base is, and then ideally, obviously, it would be on your own properties, but that's not going to be possible for every business.
Got it. And I guess that begs the question: do you have to have a loyalty program in order to build a community?
No, I don't. Probably shouldn't say it. No, I don't think you do at all. I think it helps build it.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of a byproduct, but it also helps you get more members, more engagement. Your loyal customers are always the people that are going to talk about you the most and want to engage with you the most, and they're the ones that will be most valuable and spend the most with you. So if you can keep them engaged in a community, then you're going to start seeing bigger lifetime value.
Absolutely. And then the final question that we saw in the chat here is someone's asking, how can I get my most loyal customers to be the authentic voice that you had mentioned?
Well, good question. I think it's about getting them to talk about you and your products online. So in the Never Fully Dressed example, we saw that people were sort of posting pictures when their products arrive. If you can integrate your loyalty program with your reviews provider, then you can start giving people points and things in return for posting pictures of your products and you can, any reviews that go on site, you can then share them into your community or be rewarding them there. And that kind of cross-pollination works really well.
Absolutely, that's great. Yeah, and it looks like in the polls, a good percentage of people said they're either not using a loyalty and rewards program or they're looking to improve in that area. So, of course, we're happy to recommend the Loyalty Line team to you to check out. We have an integration with them, and we're actually relaunching that in the coming months, which is going to be really awesome. So, thanks again, Fiona, for dropping so much knowledge bombs on everybody today, and looking forward to having you on our next event.
Thanks so much.
Perfect. All righty. I'm going to take over now. I'll be presenting for the Gorgias team. But before we move on with the rest of the presentation, we do want to announce the winner of our AirPod Pros giveaway. And so we did a random selection, and I'm happy to announce that Colleen Johnson, the Director of Brand Marketing at Blendjet, is our lucky winner today for AirPod Pros. So Colleen, if you're still on with us now, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be syncing up with you afterwards to send that to you. Yeah, it looks like she's on. So congratulations, and we'll sync up with you afterwards to get your mailing address to send that to you. Perfect. All right, well, I'm going to keep the party rolling here. So super thrilled to be presenting for the Gorgias team here today. Just one second here. I'm just going to publish a poll. Perfect. So I'll be presenting for the Gorgias team today. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Gorgias, we're a ticketing-based help desk built specifically for e-commerce merchants who are on Shopify, Magento, and we recently just launched on BigCommerce. Myself, I'm the tech partner manager here at Gorgias, so I manage all of our relationships with our amazing tech partners, all of which, many of which are featured on today's panel. The fun fact about myself, which probably isn't that fun for everybody else, is that I have a PhD in organic chemistry, somehow have found my way into the e-commerce space, but I've been here for about 5 months now. Couldn't be any more excited to be working in this space with great tech partners, great products, and obviously great merchants as well. So thrilled to be talking with you today about how you can level up your loyalty and retention in the context of customer support. All right, so I'll start off just with 30,000 foot view of Gorgias and who we are and where we stand today. So we're proud to support over 5,000 customers globally, which includes around 3 million support agents, which are keeping their customers happy across the globe. And ultimately, this results in over 60 million end customers each year, which are responsible for over 15 billion in GMV for all of their merchants. So we're thrilled to be at this level, but we're certainly not satisfied. And a big goal of this year is really arming our customers with more and more tools, more and more functionality within our product to make their customers' businesses even more successful. So just to start off with some key data points, all the panelists today have done a great job talking about some key stats that really paint the picture of how important it is to have a great loyalty and retention program built into your business. I'm not going to go over a ton of data with you today, but just have a few that really speak to how significant even a small increase in retention can be in terms of your bottom line. So for instance, even a small increase of 5% can result in over 25% in increase in sales, and this number is larger in most cases. With respect to personalized experience, over 80% of shoppers would like to buy when they're given that personalized experience. And that's the crux of e-commerce in general. How do you replicate that personalized in-store experience? How do you bring that online? And so that's a tremendous challenge for most e-commerce businesses, and that's why all these tools and platforms are emerging that are really empowering merchants to deliver that personalized experience, and that's certainly true in the case of Gorgias. And then finally, you can see here that over 90% of customers rate an immediate response as critical when they have a customer service question. So that ties nicely into the Gorgias conversation, because we're always trying to equip our merchants with the capability of answering questions fast. That's important, but also delivering that personalized experience. So a key battle in the customer support world, as we're learning, is how do you balance automation and speed and accuracy, but also with that level of personalization, right? So you want your customers to feel like they actually understand, that you actually understand their needs. All right, so that begs the question, how is Gorgias planning on helping merchants with loyalty and retention this year? Let's get into it. So first and foremost, what we really needed to understand was what are our merchants' customers asking them. And so we conducted a big survey last year where we analyzed over 10,000 tickets. And ultimately, you can see the results of that study here on the left. So of those 10,000 tickets, which we define as a unique instance where your customer is reaching out to you, whether it be by email, live chat, phone, etc., you can see that over 1/3, or exactly 1/3 of all of those tickets analyzed were related to your order status. So this isn't a surprise. So if it's where's my order or another related question, this is what they're commonly reaching out to you for. And so in thinking about how we can tie this to loyalty and retention, we said, okay, 1/3 of all of our merchants' customers are reaching out for order status. So we need to make sure that they can, A, respond as quickly as possible with the most amount of accurate information that we can have possible, And on the same level, we also need to arm them with the ability to give those personalized responses. And we'll talk a little bit today about what we've baked into our product functionality to enable them to do exactly that. All right, so we'll start off with some table stakes stuff in terms of features of Gorgias, and then we'll get into the more sophisticated aspects of our platform. So first and foremost, the most important thing to know is that we are an e-commerce built customer support help desk that has deep integrations into the major e-com platforms like Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce. And what that enables us to do is when we have a ticket created, say, Michelle in this case has reached out to our store, she's asking about a size, for instance, we're going to pull in all of the information that is available within the Shopify dashboard and display that right next to the customer's profile. So we're having immediately have a great understanding of that customer. We can see all their past orders. We can see their lifetime spend. We can apply, notes to that specific customer, such as they're a VIP or, they typically have sizing issues, which allows an agent when they go in to give customer support, they already have a great understanding of that customer, which really allows them to do that level of personalization. Now, on the flip side, because our platform has so much automation baked into it, you're able to actually automatically respond to a lot of questions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So a key challenge is, okay, you want to automate a lot, you want to be fast, but you also need to maintain that level of personalization and accuracy. And that is a tricky thing to do in the customer support arena. So another powerful feature of Gorgias is we want to make it easy for our merchants to understand exactly what their customers are asking about. And so one of the ways we do that is we have some artificial intelligence and machine learning baked into our platform that allows tickets to be analyzed based on what the questions are being asked by your customers. And that'll automatically apply things like tags to tickets, essentially like a subject header. So you can see here, Jessica's has a question about stock. So this ticket would automatically be tagged as a stock request. There's also could be a shipping label tag applied to it. And so what this can allow you to do is to put these tickets into the appropriate buckets within the Gorgias dashboard. So for instance, if you're a larger merchant, you might have support agents who are specifically devoted to answering questions that are related to shipping related issues. And how this ties back into the loyalty and retention is okay, say I'm a support agent, I'm responsible for shipping related tickets. I see that some are coming in. I'm able to go in there and immediately answer those questions, which is obviously going to keep your customers happy, which is a great way to keep them long-term for a retention standpoint. But I'm also going to have all of that information, whether it's through Shopify or through our other integrations that we have, including with the platforms that I have spoken today. So you're going to have all the information you could possibly imagine to give the customers the information that they need to keep them happy. And so that's a big part of how we're really arming our merchants with the ability to answer questions more accurately and more efficiently in 2021. Another big thing that we're really big on here, as we've talked about, is automation. So one of our main goals is to free up bandwidth for support agents to focus on more pressing issues, more challenging customers to deal with. So we want to make sure that you can automate as much as you can. For some of our merchants, that means they're able to offload and automate up to 40% of their entire ticket volume, right? But a key challenge, as I've talked about numerous times, is how do you balance automating all of these tickets, which is huge, right? This could mean that you could have lower customer support agents, which obviously will free up a little bit of money. But also it's going to keep your customers happier as you're responding to them faster and faster. But again, you don't want to get it to a point where you're automating so much that you're losing touch with that level of personalization. And so one of the ways that we're able to do this is through our rules feature, which is one of our most powerful components. And so it's essentially a series of if statements. So for this particular instance, when a ticket is created and it contains any of the following phrases, where's my order, then reply with a specific message. And what it would do is it would populate a message that would have personalized fields, so the customer's name, and it would have, say, Shopify variable fields embedded into the message. And so what this allows you to do is to generate a completely personalized response that gives the customer exactly what they need, but you actually had no interaction with that ticket. So this ticket would open up. If all of these criteria were satisfied, it would automatically populate a message that you can customize however you want. You can make it as personalized as you'd want. It would automatically send that message and then close the ticket as if you didn't even know about it. And so some of our customers are able to do this with up to 40% of their support messages, which is pretty phenomenal. And then another big thing when it comes to loyalty and retention is you need to make sure that you're connecting with your customers across all the channels that they're reaching out to you for. So this obviously includes classic channels like email, SMS, but you also need to be reaching out to them and connecting with them across the social channels. And so that's really one of the things that we pride ourselves in here at Gorgias, is that we really are an omni-channel customer support platform, meaning there's essentially no avenue that your customers are going to be reaching out to you that we can't capture and then pull into our Gorgias dashboard and give you a very standardized view. So it doesn't matter if they're reaching out by text, by call, or they're commenting on an Instagram post. We're going to standardize that view in the form of a ticket, which makes it really easy for you to just answer the question and give them the information that they need without worrying about switching between tabs to try to understand where the information is coming from. So you can kind of see a screenshot here of what that looks like inside the Gorgias admin. Someone's asking about a shipping address update. You can see all the Shopify information that we have available for that customer. We can also take action. We could cancel the order, duplicate the order, refund it. And as I mentioned, it doesn't matter which channel the customer is reaching out to you. As long as we can tie that customer to their specific, say, Shopify account, their information, we're able to pull it all in and take all these actions that I've talked about, which is awesome. And then I definitely want to promote the fact that our long-awaited Instagram DMs integration is shipping early this quarter, so we're super thrilled about that. So that's really going to take things to the next level for our merchants as they continue to connect with their customers in a more personalized way. Yeah, and then moving on to, okay, you're talking about how Gorgias is able to level up our loyalty and retention. Obviously, we're improving the customer satisfaction by offering a great way to answer questions faster and more personalized. But how do we actually assess the ROI? How do I actually assess how well we're doing on that front? And so one of the things that Gorgias prides ourselves in is really turning your support into a profit center. So that's like our cheesy hero slogan, but it really is true. So obviously we're improving your bottom line by allowing you to deliver or enabling you to deliver better customer support. But on the flip side, because of our tool and because of our deep integrations with so many platforms like Dacity, like Recharge, like Attentive, and Loyalty Line, you're able to tap into that and leverage it to create sales opportunities in the context of customer support that would otherwise be tricky to do using other means where you don't have all this information available. And what's great about the Gorgias platform is that we accurately track all of the revenue that is generated through using Gorgias, which makes it really easy to see your ROI. And so as you can see here, for instance, there was over 1,000 tickets that a sales opportunity was generated through their conversion rate. You can see their conversion rate here is 28%, which is obviously phenomenal. And this is how much sales they've generated through support over a 10-day period. And what's great is you can track this across agents, so you can segment it down to who your top performing agents are. You can segment this across channels, so you can compare it across SMS, Facebook messaging, Instagram DMs, which is phenomenal. So you can really see, oh, look, these channels are actually quite profitable for us. Let's double down on them and really, empower our agents to create even more sales opportunities. And then you can see the underperforming channels in your customer support realm that aren't really generating sales. And so that's another way to do it. Which is pretty awesome. And so an easy example of this is you finished answering a customer's question, you really delivered stellar support to them. You say, oh, by the way, we just launched our new orange soda. Here's a 10% discount code, which we have a lot of integrations that enable you to just drop that right into the chat. And if they buy that, then great, it'll automatically be tracked in Gorgias, which makes it easy to assess your performance. And then the final thing I'd like to highlight is, as we grow and as our merchants grow within us, we want to make sure that we're continuously equipping them with their favorite tools to reach their growth goals. So obviously we have deep integrations with major platforms like Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, but we also want to continuously make sure that their favorite apps and tools are embedded and connected to our platform. So today we have over 40 apps that Gorgias integrates with, including all the panelist platforms speaking with us today, which is fantastic. So we're going to continue doing this as our merchants grow and they're requesting the need for more and more integrations. We're going to make sure that we deliver that for them. And then the final thing I just want to highlight as a case study for this is, as it relates to loyalty and retention, is returns. And so we know that return season basically just passed by after a crazy BFCM and holiday season. At Gorgias, we were getting a ton of requests for integrations that enable merchants to process returns and exchanges. We have some functionality related to that based on our Shopify integration, but it wasn't quite up to the level that merchants were demanding. And so we ultimately built this integration with Loop Returns, You can see kind of what it looks like within the customer profile here. We see all the information, and we're able to take action for processing that return or exchange right within Gorgias. So no more switching tabs. And so this is just an easy example of, okay, as we grow, more and more merchants are demanding certain product features or integrations. We're going to make sure that we have them for you. And then the final thing I'd just like to highlight is one of our longest standing customers, Tushy, which is a fantastic bidet company. I definitely recommend people check them out. And so we were speaking with them last week, and they gave us a little bit of insight into how they view customer loyalty. And so I'd say that they're one of the industry leaders on the loyalty standpoint. They just have such great branding. They have such great campaigns targeted at just really connecting with their customers and understanding how they think. And so you can see the quote here from Ren, who's the CX director at Tushy. But definitely, for the merchants out there today who are looking to level up their loyalty and retention, are looking for good examples and champions in the community, I definitely recommend checking out Tushy. But with that, I'm going to take over and let our next speaker join the panel. So I'm just going to stop sharing screens there. I don't know if there's any questions for Gorgias. Can intents be customized by Johnson? Wong, yes, Johnson, you can absolutely customize the intents, and there's a lot more you can do in that regard. So happy to speak with you offline if you'd like to. Perfect. With that, we will keep the show going, and I'll let Kevin take over the stage for our final presentation.
Thanks a lot, Chris. And I'll go ahead and my screen. Let's see here. Excellent. Let's go ahead and start from the top. All right, everybody. My name is Kevin Liu, and I am the Technology Partnerships here at Recharge. And I'm going to share some insights that we've got from loyalty and retention from the perspective of subscriptions. So with that in mind, just a little bit about Recharge. We've got about 7 years of experience within the physical subscription commerce space, boasting about 15,000 merchants running subscription businesses, 30 million subscribers, and 4 billion in processing. All of that is just a way of saying we've got a really good vantage point for subscription business and what's been successful historically from the perspective of long-term sustainability. So again, with that in mind, why subscriptions? Why are businesses looking to turn to that to retain customers? One is it's a good way to turn your business into a sustainable revenue machine. The subscription commerce industry is estimated to be worth over 250 billion globally by the end of the year. And the average subscription billing vendor is growing about 30% annually. So really, that's because, again, most customers really stay engaged and build brand loyalty when they're subscribed to a product. That I think about 45% of subscribers to consumable goods. So that's like vitamins, razors, everything in the kitchen and the bathroom, as we like to say, stay subscribed for at least 1 year before subscriptions typically churn at that ratio. So really, subscriptions are in themselves a vehicle for driving loyalty and retention. I think, as we heard from Dacity and the others today, so much focus these days is on customer acquisition, which is increasingly expensive, and they're not thinking enough about retention and building off that base. So when you have someone subscribed, you really can focus on the customer service components, analyzing customer data, referral and loyalty programs, and of course, your messaging. So with that in mind, let's explore some models and methods that merchants have employed to drive their subscription businesses. So the first model that we'll look at is curation. This is something I think people are pretty familiar with, your classic box of the month, where you're curating a box of one or more products and shipping them at a regular cadence. We see this typically a lot in the beverage industry, entertainment, hobbyists, of course, food and pets. And really, the job to be done there is to provide a high-touch, curated physical goods experience for your customers who are looking for that kind of richer, curated experience than they would get on a more standard platform like Amazon, of course. And I think the point here is that customers value the subscription e-commerce experience of your product, the unboxing, just as much as the actual functionality and the quality of the product. So retention strategies in that space tend to focus on the surprise excitement factor. So really good boxes, good packaging, brand loyalty, of course, and building programs for people to share those insights. We've seen some examples from our partners today on how to do that. And then, of course, curating and customizing these boxes. That can go into, if you have the operational capabilities to allow customers to change the items in boxes between shipments. That's a powerful way to get things to be extra relevant to your customers as they go through the subscription journey with you, and ensures that they don't churn. In other cases, just really taking the time to curate things that are relevant, and keeping those SKUs consistent work really well as well. And we also see with these types of brands, typically really well managed portal environments or customer portals to manage their subscriptions, provide insights and feedback on the items that they're getting in these boxes. And then from there, that typically has an impact on what is included on subsequent shipments. The second model that we'll look at is replenishment. So this is what really Recharge started on, consumable products that are delivered on a consistent basis. So protein powders, supplements, beauty, skincare products, and coffee, of course, are fantastic examples of this. And really, retention strategies on this are around quality products being delivered on time. And customers being able to manage delivery frequencies when they come and go. Typically, customers like to buy these subscriptions and then forget about it, other than delivery frequency. And of course, really what accounts for a bulk discount, so subscribe and save discounting, to ensure that they're actually getting value for subscribing versus just buying whenever they want. The next model that we'll talk about is access, and I'd say this is one of the fastest growing subscription models that we've seen. Really, it's around creating a loyal community of consumers who believe in your brands and products and want exclusive benefits. Your Amazon Prime model is an example of what an access type subscription model is. It really allows you to keep them connected to you, and rewards them for their advocacy, the consistency of their engagement, and more. So really, what you're offering is something that where if you subscribe to like a digital membership, then you're offered increased discounts, access to select collections that normal single purchase consumers who come to your site wouldn't get access to, and free shipping. One of the other points is actually delivering free credit to spend on the store. Loyalty Line actually offers a mechanism in conjunction with Recharge that would do that, and ensures that these brands can continue to spend points on new purchases, which on average tends to increase the average order value because they buy more stuff than the points that they get each month anyway. So again, strong messaging for these types of customers is really, really important. We've talked about some great ways to do that via Attentive and via the notifications that we've talked about here. So with that in mind, we'll go into the different mechanisms that these business models tend to leverage within the Recharge platform to ensure retention increases in the long term. First is customer engagement. We've talked about that plenty today. One of the core components of subscriptions is notifications. We have integrations into Attentive, and of course you can leverage Recharge notifications themselves as well. But the point is that notifications have, especially when they're sent via SMS, I think like a 99% open rate. So those are opportunities to engage your customers, keep them subscribed, keep them from preventing churn, and of course updating their card payments if they've gone into card decline. So notifications are the mechanism to do that. And of course, investing in a strong customer portal is the second component of that, where a good example of this is Native Deodorant. They used a customized customer portal environment where people would log into their subscriptions after getting these upcoming order notifications, and very easily could click and add one-time products to their upcoming order, allowing, again, customers to increase their average order value, test out and try new products that they might subscribe to later. And because of how well that portal looked and developed, we actually ended up rolling that into our standard customer portal environments for all customers and merchants now. So it's more or less a native feature. And again, the point is that customers who engage with their subscription tend to stay subscribed twice as long. And notifications and managed portal environments are a way of doing that. The second category I talk about is customer retention strategies. Basically, one of the biggest areas that people tend to churn on subscriptions is because they have too much product, or they might be away for the weekend. They don't have an easy or obvious way for them to skip or push off a shipment. So sending notifications to customers and offering easy ways to skip or reschedule can reduce cancellation on average by 38%. A lot of the times these people are looking to just cancel and then reactivate when they get back. But the reality is they forget or maybe reconsider when they come back. So the point is keep them subscribed, allow them an easy mechanism to skip and reschedule. And you can do that out of our standard notification suite and actually in apps like Attentive and in Gorgias as well via their customer support help desks. The third category I'll talk about is discounted trials around upsell strategies. So we've talked about the opportunities to upsell and have people add additional products and try them. Obviously, free shipping and the access models is one of the other mechanisms that merchants offer to subscribers to keep them on board. But discounted trials is also an under-leveraged resource, I think, for a lot of brands, where using our workflows tool, you can create a subscription workflow where someone buys maybe for free initially, or buys a smaller sample pack or a discounted version of that product. And of course, after a certain period of time, opts into the full subscription rate, allowing people to try a product before they fully commit to a long-term relationship with your brand. The one thing we learned about this, and one of our merchants, Kettle and Fire, discovered when running these types of trials, of course, is the danger of free trials is that people can charge back or just on that second charge when they actually bill in, or they just cancel right after they get their free product. And then you'll find your product on eBay later, which always sucks. So basically the idea is offer a discounted trial or something that is a smaller pack, like a 2-pack product in the case of Kettle and Fire for their bone broth soups versus a full pack that the subscription requires. And what this does is it obviously limits the cost and the risk that you take by offering discounted trials or free trials. By offering them a smaller version of that, it also allows the customer to ease into a subscription by trying something initially, a smaller pack of it. They're not committing to a lot of it. And then, of course, they can opt into the full subscription by just continuing to wait for their upcoming charge. So really, again, the main mechanism of upsell strategies can revolve around offering customers different entree points into working their way into their subscription. The last thing I'll say with upsell strategies is also the ability to communicate with your one-time purchasers or people who've bought your product once and ask them to opt into your subscription, either pre-purchase before they check out, before they end up purchasing, or after they've purchased, allowing them to opt into a subscription for later. And those are some of the quick mechanisms on upsell strategies. The fourth category of some of the retention tools we look at is within our enhanced analytics. Obviously, as you've heard from Dacity today, you need to inspect what you expect and make informed decisions on who to run retention campaigns for, how to adjust your subscription frequencies, and at what stage are you on average churning customers so you can take action with messaging or by optimizing your products. In addition to our own enhanced analytics, which gives you the type of analysis to do the types of stuff I'm looking at or the types of the tools, we offer a pretty robust API and webhooks that are used by merchants to either customize and send the data into recharge to whatever view, database, or platform that you consume, or as we often recommend, leverage existing integrations from technology partners that have already built this. Dacity is a great partner and one I mentioned earlier that integrates with Recharge and leverages all of the events that happen, the subscription events, whether it's cancellations, reactivations, et cetera, allowing them to offer those types of insights and allow customers to make those decisions. Within Gorgias, one of the great parts I love about that integration is customer support is obviously a key component of retention. And if you've ever had to switch between 3 different windows to manage 30 tickets for subscribers that all need partial refunds, you can imagine how the nightmare that can happen to your customer support reps and how much time that takes, which obviously has an impact on how fast they're getting back to customers. Within Gorgias, there's full subscription management functionality within those dashboards. So I think one of the best things that I'm getting at is evaluate your full technology stack when running a subscription business so that you understand that you're leveraging the best support tools, the best analytics tools, the best communication tools like Attentive, and of course the best loyalty membership programs, referral programs, with Loyalty Line. There's a lot out there and a lot of other tools as well. One category when it comes to retention is making sure that you're managing your dunning and rebilling attempts. Attentive sends on time upcoming or update card notifications when card fails. And there's a huge impact on when you send that messaging and the likelihood someone's going to update their credit card and recover. We've seen people recover as much as 20% of their revenue by optimizing that messaging. So with that in mind, I assaulted you guys with quite a bit of information there. So I'll open up to questions and see what everyone else has to say.
Well, Kevin, that was phenomenal. Definitely a great way to cap off this event. Really grateful. It's always great having someone who's such a product expert for their platform come on to speak on these events. So really grateful for your time. Definitely have no shortage of questions here. So one is, what commerce platforms is Recharge available on?
So Recharge traditionally has been focused on Shopify. However, we have recently expanded to new platforms. Like I said, most are on Shopify, but we have customers now on BigCommerce, Magento, and many are taking a headless approach to their commerce stack and just using your APIs to do subscription billing and management. So if you're looking at certain platforms, reach out to us. Our API makes it so that we can pretty easily integrate to a lot of other solutions. Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. Having spent a decent amount of time looking at our partners' APIs, including Recharges, I can definitely speak to the robust and functionality of it. Another question we have here is what do you see as the key driver for subscription retention? I see more than anything, despite the things that I said today, is just focusing on product, of course, depending on what business stage you're at as a small business owner. I think a quality product that resonates with a customer base and is delivered at the right time cadence and the right time is key. So really, if I had a second, it's highly responsible customer support and timely notifications and marketing comms. But really, at the end of the day, just understanding who your user base is and why they believe in your product is really important to then increase that retention in the long term. Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that we definitely have talked about before is many merchants see a significant drop off between the checkout purchasing of a subscription and their first recurring billing date. And so how can you decrease that churn and extend the lifetime value of that subscription? There could be many reasons that this happens, but the first thing you want to look at is invest in a solid retention flow in your customer portal. If you're using Recharge, for example, and the reason is you want to offer customers incentives based on what their reasons are for canceling. So one, you want to know why they're canceling and you want to prevent that cancellation. So well thought out multiple choice selections to take them through that cancellation flow. And an extra field for notes can help you both qualify and quantify what are the reasons your customers are leaving. For example, it could be that a higher rate of card declines in the first month, if that's happening, is because you're targeting customers who can't afford the subscription on a consistent basis. So you might need to change your frequency of those billing cycles or your pricing, right? The other case it could be is that you're offering a trial subscription. Customers are simply running off with your goods at a discounted price, as I mentioned earlier. So there's a variety of reasons, but if you aren't collecting data either over the phone when they're canceling or over your support desk when you're communicating with them, or if they're doing it on their own via the customer portal, you're missing an opportunity to run retargeting campaigns and also improve, obviously, to prevent that in the future. Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll get you out on for this last question here, and I'm sure you get it a lot, certainly in the sales cycle. So someone comes to you, they don't have a subscription product, but have you seen examples of businesses that have added that dimension to their existing product line? Yes. In fact, I think that's one of the most common reasons people migrate over to Recharge is they found a customer base that keeps buying the product, and they're looking now to add that component on, or they have a theory that people would stick with their product longer than intended. So launching a subscription business on an existing healthy, single purchase business is pretty normal from our standpoint. And what we typically recommend, of course, is once it's launched to offer the right marketing campaigns and the right upsell incentives within your site to get people to opt into subscriptions as opposed to the single purchases they might be used to. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Kevin. I see that in the poll, a number of people said that they are not using a subscription management tool yet, but want to use that. So I definitely recommend you check out Recharge. Thanks again, Kevin, for participating today. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Chris. And thanks everybody else. Cool. I'm just going to finish up here
and say, thank you everyone for joining today's event. I know we're all extremely busy. It's hard to take time out of your day. I want to thank all the panelists for joining us as well. A special shout out to the lucky winner of our AirPod Pro giveaway, and definitely want to promote next week's event. Just drop the link in the chat there so you can register for our event next week on shipping and fulfillment best practices. We do 2 of these events each month, different topics, bringing on different panel of experts to all geared towards helping you improve your business. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We will send out a live the recorded video for this to everybody right afterwards. And until next time, thanks so much. Take care.